from Roofer's Coffee Shop. This is Heidi Ellsworth, and I am here today road tripping down towards Texas to meet with a very dear friend of mine, April Hall, to talk about her upcoming conference. April, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Heidi, for having me. This is so much fun. I appreciate being on here. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love these podcasts. It gives you and I an opportunity to talk. I get all caught up because you've just been putting on one of the premier shows around restoration for the roofing industry for years now. But before we get started, let's start with your introduction. So if you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about Storm Consultants.
Okay, yeah, my name is April Hall, like Heidi said, and I've been in the construction industry really all my life. Family did custom built homes. In college, I transitioned into roofing. So actually, I met my business partner. We opened up our first roofing and construction company while I was in college. We did a lot of hail work, but also a lot of retail. And I got into commercial retail at the time, and been in it really ever since. So worked in different areas, other storms, and we saw that there was a huge need for a standardized training for the industry, and it hadn't been created. So we started doing insurance restoration sales training back in 2011 in Dallas, and then it just grew really, really fast. So I started to scale it, and there hadn't been really a conference designed for the industry yet around storm restoration, hail, wind, hurricane, stuff like that. So I said, hey, we need to have a conference for this industry. So back in 2013 is when it started.
I love it. You were ahead of your time.
Well, nobody was doing it in the space then, so it's changed a lot.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, I know when I started with Eagle View about the same time, 2010, I mean, I was just like, wow, what is restoration? I didn't even know. And you were already, bringing it to the forefront. Plus, an original woman in roofing, starting your own business in college, doing roofing. It's so cool, April.
Thanks. It's been a neat journey, and it's been in the industry for so long. It's really, really changed. I mean, with technology we have today, I learned how to measure a roof before Eagle View. So
yeah, that's right.
People who come into it now, they have all these different apps, and it's just so much easier. And the industry's changed. It's gotten better too. So
I think so. Yeah, I think so too. I think the technology has actually helped lift everyone, but we don't want people to forget about the craftsmanship and really understanding it like you did when you were there. So I would, you have your company, you have your the SRC Summit, but you also have your company, Storm Consultants. And I know you kind of just said a little bit there what inspired you, but I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper into that. What really inspired you to bring training to the contractors, to bring this to the market?
Yeah, well, there really just was a lack of training. I mean, contractors still kind of do it today too, who haven't really stepped up to really hone in on their skills with all the other trainings that we have available nowadays. But I'd work at different markets, and basic training was, hey, go ride in a car with so and so for 3 days, and now you're ready to go restore somebody's house. And I saw that all over the place. I'm like, oh my gosh, unless you're a multi-millionaire, your home's going to be your biggest investment, your biggest asset. So you really should have trained quality people who know what they're doing in order to restore your home. So that's really why we started. And then also, contractors, across the US have kind of had a bad name, right? It's just kind of being fraudulent or whatever. So my whole goal was to bring integrity back to the industry by showing them how to have a, longevity in the industry, but by doing it right. So, not cutting corners, not, eating deductibles, so forth and so on.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, when I think about even like Xactimate and all of the things that haven't been around that long, I mean, I know for a while, but there's just so much to learn to do it the right way and with integrity. And I also know that what you just said, having the highest level of integrity, working with insurance and doing it the right way. Talk a little bit more about that, because you were really committed on that front, and it inspires me.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, there just should be protocols for everything, right? We have insurance, we have Xactimate. As long as you know how to do it right, you should be charging for those line items if you actually do the work. Right. That's what I always tell contractors, like, you do the work, you can charge for those line items. And so I think back to training too, I think, with like SRC and things I do like that, we like to stay on top of what's happening in the industry. So a lot of times, we've had the different laws in Texas even change. And so if contractors don't stay up on that type of knowledge, they could, get in hot water for just not knowing. And so education, going to events and being part of community online is very important if you want to have longevity in the industry, especially doing it the right way. If you're, eating deductibles and you're not doing things the way you should be, you're not going to be in business that long.
Right. And because contractors are calling other contractors out on it too, because they know the right way to do it. And so there's so many really great restoration contractors out there who are following the laws, following the licensing, doing what they need to do. And so I think everybody's kind of that, not everybody, but there's a lot of people who are of that mind of let's all play on the same level playing field.
Yes, I agree. And with different, there's so many different Facebook and, closed groups that have, great people in there. You ask a question and, your competitor is going to give you an answer, right? So we've formed a better community over the years with social and just events in general, people coming together and wanting to help each other succeed. So I really like that aspect of it.
Me too. That's one of my favorites. Okay, let's talk about the summit. So the SRC Summit, why don't you kind of just start at the beginning? When is it? And what can people expect when they come to your summit?
Yes, so it's a new venue. I'm really excited about it. There's new speakers, new networking opportunities. All the contractors usually say, hey, they're blown away by the knowledge that they gain from the speakers, but also from each other. So I'm really big on that, but also the networking. So it's a time to meet new people, see ones that make new acquaintances, meet a vendor, meet somebody who you can, grow with, who can help your business succeed. So January 29th is when we kick it off. For attendees, it's kind of like a travel day because it's not going to be till later that afternoon, but vendors get to come in and we're going to open her up around 2:30, vendor trade show. Attendees can come in, meet all the vendors, followed by a welcome mixer. And so that's just a way to kick it off to where you can start meeting people before the main event even starts. So Monday, Tuesday, we're doing 2 full days of main stage events. So all main stage speakers, panels. I've got some really good ones I'm excited about. The venue's awesome. It's Embassy Suites in Denton, Texas, and it's an all-in-one convention center. So there's only 4 4-star Embassy Suites in the United States. This is one of them. And it's just really, really elegant. It's nice. There's plenty of space. You don't have to walk so far. Everything is right there.
That's nice. That's nice. And the dates? So we have those up there.
Yeah, January 29th through 31st is the main event. And then February 1st is breakouts. I call this implementation day. This past year, I did a breakout day only, and everybody said it was just phenomenal. They loved how it was just dedicated to one day. Because in the past, what I've done is I've had breakouts happen, maybe before the conference started really early.
Yeah.
During the lunch hour, people eat and then they have to hurry to do a breakout and then they follow into like the main stage event. So this has doesn't take away from main stage. It doesn't take away from when people are wanting to maybe sleep in till at least, 7 because they start or take away from their lunch. So it's one day and, people can pick and choose to who they want to see. And, it's really more hands-on type of workshop atmosphere. So I'm excited about it.
Talk a little bit more about that. So in the breakouts, they go in and what are some of the breakouts? Is it by region? Is it by on topic? How does that work?
Yeah, different topics. So we have some of the sponsors doing them, some of the attendees. So John Scenic is my MC this year. He's excellent. He's really done a lot of trainings for, if you recognize his name, that shingle. So he's great at finding the discontinued shingles. I sold that way in Colorado years ago. I mean, there's like one missing. Guess what? You have to replace the roof. So it's a great way to sell. He's going to be doing a special workshop on one of those days. We have, there's so many, from marketing, from, legal, from implementation, like with Xactimate. There's just a lot of different things that we go over, tax structure, anything that's going to help with your business.
That's cool. I love that. So we talked about some of the speakers and panelists, but what I really like too is you talked about the contractors giving you feedback. And so you're really taking that feedback, and every year you're taking it and implementing it. So I know you just said about the breakouts, but can you give us some other examples? What are some of the things that you continually start growing from the contractor feedback?
Yeah, so I always like to stay on top of things as to what are happening in the industry, but also like creating new things. And so I have something that's super exciting, and you may have seen it a little bit online. But I'm working with Dave and a few other people in the industry, and what we've actually been doing is doing smoke claims from fire. So all the reconstruction people I know for fires, they go directly to the fire and they restore that property. Well, we
Right.
are actually helping homeowners, business owners return their properties back to pre-smoke condition. We're going to be talking about that SRC, but really what most people don't understand is that it's a huge health concern. There are
Yeah.
so many combustion byproducts that get into people's homes, and some of them are microscopic. You're breathing them in. It causes a lot of problems. And so we use science for it. So we actually have patented smoke maps. We know where it's going in, and we use hygienists to give us in labs to give us reports to identify if it's there or not. So it's very, very interesting. And I don't know anybody else is doing it. So we're going to share about it at SRC. So that's going to be a big topic, and I'm excited to share about it. So that's one of
Yeah.
them. There's
I
there's
like the
plenty
fact
more.
that you're going beyond the roof. That's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and that
And
opens up business opportunities for all the
it
contractors.
it does. I mean, especially if contractors are used to working hail and they have to wait for like a hailstorm. There's actually way more fires each year than there is hailstorms, and the
Yeah.
smoke travels pretty far. So it's very interesting, and I'm really surprised that this concept hasn't taken on over the years. I mean, you look at California; it's never not on fire, right?
Right. I know. And Oregon's
This
not far behind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's something that we're going to bring to the marketplace, and really, when you step back and you look at it, and we share the dynamics of what it is. It's really like we created a brand new industry.
Yeah. Wow. That's very exciting. So what else? What other new things do you have coming?
Oh my goodness. One of my keynotes, I have different people who are going to be sharing like main stage presentations, but also panels. I'm bringing on Ron White. He's a two-time USA memory champion.
Wow.
I actually had him speak several years ago, and he did such an excellent job, but it's something that people struggle with is remembering names and faces, especially when you meet somebody like at a conference for the first time. So he
Yeah.
teaches you how to do that. He also is pretty entertaining. So he'll
Yeah.
have most of the audience stand up, and he'll memorize everybody's name. And when he calls your name, you sit down. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
fascinating. It really is. But I took one of his programs a few years ago, and it's very cool to know that your mind and brain can work this way. But within an hour and a half, I taught my son, who was 5 years old at the time, how to memorize the presidents 1 through 45 in order by using his techniques.
Wow.
So it's good to like you take it back and you're like, wow, I wish I would have known some of this stuff when I was going to school. It would have helped me with tests and things like that. So it's very interesting. I like to bring different type of people in for SRC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I like about that is that it doesn't have anything to do specifically with roofing or even restoration, but it has everything to do with the sales call
Yeah.
and working with vendors and putting all that together. So, okay. So main speakers, have they been, are they out there yet? As in,
Yeah, there's a lot on the website. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Let's see, there's several panels. So we have the women's leadership panel. I'm
yes,
super excited. So welcome,
that gives me,
Heidi. She's going
thank
to be on
you.
this year. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so we do the women's leadership panel. We have the commercial panel. I started this a few years ago because contractors are always asking me, like, hey, April, how do I break into commercial? Or,
Yeah.
how do I secure more commercial jobs? So I've got a great panel of commercial contractors who are really going to share just that. And maybe also some ins and outs of what not to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's equally as important as what to do. So we got our commercial panel. We've got a panel of industry experts. One panel that's brand new this year that I haven't done before is Steve Badger has been asking me to speak at my conference for a while. And so most people are like, oh gosh, it's Steve Badger, right? It's not going to be any type of debate or whatever, but contractors really have some great questions for him. So I put together a panel of contractors that, real contractors asking real questions that they can get answered. So that's something you won't see anywhere else.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of give him the voice. I mean, he's got some really good valid points. I've seen him speak a couple of times, and then, contractors have questions, so they'll be able to get their questions answered on stage, which I'm excited about. It's
Yeah.
new. So
That's good.
lots of new things for SRC. Gosh, lots of networking. We have the welcome mixer the first night, Monday night after the main event. I run it out at the facility next door. It's this huge place, a big restaurant / bar area. So we'll have a lot of networking, food, etc. And then on Tuesday evening, haven't announced this yet, but I will soon. We're gonna have a comedy night.
Ooh, I love it. Fun.
So more networking. I like to laugh, so I think it'll be kind of fun to do something that I've never done before and bring in a couple comedians, and we'll have a good time.
I think everyone loves that. That's always a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
So when as the contractors are getting ready to come to this, what are some of the things that you really recommend that they kind of prepare, right? How are they preparing themselves to come to this conference, to get the most out of it, to really be able to take their business to the next level?
Yeah, I say mindset's everything. So when you go to a conference, the best thing you can do is say, you know what, I see all the speakers up here. I want to gain knowledge, in whatever areas. I mean, be present, be there, take notes, go out of your way. If you're not as outgoing, say, you know what, I'm going to meet X number amount of people. Like if they're a speaker on stage, or maybe they're a vendor, like, okay, my goal is to meet this many number of vendors, meet this many number of speakers, meet attendees, and then take notes and go back. And before you really go to sleep the night after you get back, you go through those notes and you start implementing. The people who have done that and really had intention about going to the conferences in the past and taking those notes, they've had a lot of success because they're not forgetting as soon as they get back, they're starting to implement all of that.
Yeah, it's easy too, because I mean, there's so much going on. Contractors are so busy that it's easy to, if you don't do it right away, you're just going to get sucked back up into the everyday. And so I find the same thing. You've got to do it. You've got to kind of pay attention to it. And the contractors helping each other. I love that part of it. And it seems like, I mean, that's always when contractors are there with similar mindsets, intentionalness. I love that. What's some of the feedback you get from the contractors about the other contractors they meet?
You know what? They love that just as much as learning from the speakers, because they, the feedback is really cool. They're like, oh, I met so-and-so from, another state, or, we talked with each other and they helped me solve a problem.
Yeah.
And so I always say you're going to learn from the speakers, but you're equally going to learn from other contractors that you meet. So it's, really SRC is like a powerhouse of networking and knowledge. And it just, if you want to be in the right room with the right people at the right time and really have some intentional of, hey, this is what I want to get out of it, it happens at SRC. A couple of my contractors are like, oh, it's the magic of SRC. I'm like, well, you get in what you put out. But yeah, I'm really big on bringing education to the industry and bringing everybody together in a safe place where they can network and, get to meet and grow and, know each other.
Yeah. And it's not just with contractor, but you're bringing vendors in and people who can help make their life better and building those relationships. So, I mean, I think that's really key too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And, it's not hundreds of different vendors there. So it's like, if you want to go and talk with somebody one-on-one, you're not competing with like 500 vendors or whatever. It's a small amount. So you get a lot of good traffic from a vendor perspective. And a lot of them are, owners from review companies. So like-minded people, decision makers. That's really what it's all about.
That's so cool. So you really have your finger on the pulse of the industry. And so I'd like to just kind of also ask you, what are some of the things you're seeing in the insurance restoration market, right? The contractors should be aware. I know you're going to cover a lot of it through your speakers, but what are some of the hot topics or some of the things that, as a restoration contractor, you should really be aware of and bringing into your company?
Yeah, always staying on top of policy. I mean, it changes all the time. Insurance companies are getting harder to work with as the years go on, or denying, delaying, underpaying. And, the smaller ones, especially if you're looking to Florida, where we just had a hurricane, the smaller ones probably won't be in business too much longer because of all the loss there. But to answer your question with that is really SRC is about knowing your craft. And so even for the longest time, so many years, I didn't know what reinsurance is. And after I've talked with lots of contractors, I'm going to tell you probably about 95% of them don't know what it is. So I brought a gentleman in from the reinsurance companies who's going to explain how they actually insure the big companies against losses.
Great. Yeah, that's a great topic.
Yes. And so, yeah, I mean, most people, I just talked with a contractor today, been in business for 20 years, and he had never heard of reinsurance before. But all the big carriers have reinsurance.
Right.
So
and you got to
it's
kind of
very
figure out where
interesting.
that money's coming from.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be pretty shocking once contractors really understand, how it all works.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? There's power in that. There's power in understanding, instead of just like, well, this is just what we have to do, but to really understand the whole market overall and to be able to start kind of implementing. I mean, that could start changing how you deal with insurance companies, the relationships you build, how you work with your homeowners or building owners. I mean, that's a lot.
It is. So I'm excited about this. There's several new speakers, and some of the things that you're going to hear at SRC, you will not hear anywhere else. So that's where we're going to stand out more.
Yeah.
Is that, hey, we're about education, and these speakers are going to really blow you away with the knowledge that they have.
Yeah, that's great. So, and you've kind of already said it, but it's hard for contractors to take time away, and especially now. I mean, since post-COVID, it seems like there's just so much going on. So I know you've already said it, but say it again. Why should the contractors right now be taking time, making the reservations, blocking off the time, and really giving back to themselves and their company through SRC Summit?
Yeah, so it's in January. It's the first big event of the year. So it's really there to set your year up for success. Get that first quarter rolling, meet the people that you need to meet, gain the knowledge that you need to gain, and implement. It's the beginning of the year. It's a brand new horizon to start 2023 outright. So that's, one reason to get there. And, it's funny because I laugh, a lot of people from the north, they're like, oh yes, Texas is going to be so warm, right? Because they may not be able to be doing any contracting right now with snow everywhere.
Right.
So,
yeah, you really do have the perfect time.
Yeah. So the first of the year is really, the right time to set your goals up, really implement them, and know your direction for the rest of the year.
Yeah. So everyone needs to take their time now and get registered, get their hotels put together. So let's talk a little bit about logistics. How do they register? And also how do they get their hotels? What should they be doing right now?
Yeah, so everything's on the website. I secured a really awesome hotel rate on site. And then I know there's not enough rooms there to hold everybody. So I have a few other ones available as well on the site, but it's only $149 per night to secure your room. Comes with an amazing breakfast. You walk right down here in the convention center. Right now we're going through early bird rates. As we get closer, they go up. So there's 3 different tickets. There's a general admission, a VIP platinum. So they come with different things. So something for everybody, they can pick what they like. But it gives them all the main stage, the breakouts, and the vendors as well. So just a little bit more detailed on srcsummit.com. But yeah, it's Dallas is a major hub. So DFW International really get here from anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's about, everything's like 30 minutes away from DFW.
Right.
Get into DFW, go straight north. It's 25 to 30 minutes away. So it's right there.
That's cool. So just real quick, I'm kind of curious, and for those out there listening, VIP to VIP Platinum, what are some of the special perks?
Yeah, so VIP Platinum is like your ultimate best ticket, right? You're going to sit in the front rows.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, it comes with some other VIP stuff, VIP goodie bag. It comes with like the lunches, some drink tickets. So there's a whole bunch of different things there that's lined out. So it's really a package.
Yeah. So check it out. Check it out. You can also find the SRC Summit on Rivers Coffee Shop in their directory. So we'll have that going up there along with this podcast and tons of articles. You can go back and look at past years and what April has done on just bringing such a gem to the industry. And I have to just say again, April, I love your 100% focus on education, because I think that's what we need more than anything, right?
Yes, you can never stop learning. I mean, just to look at where I was in the industry back when there was no apps, Eagle wasn't invented. Like, it has changed so much.
I know. It really has. I can't believe it when I look back too. But I also want to say just a thank you too, because I know how involved you are with the National Women in Roofing Dallas Council, how much you all do. And so you bring in a lot of women-owned businesses to this summit also.
Yes, so I have a full women's leadership panel, as mentioned before. We also do a women's networking lunch. And so, I'm always big about bringing women in because we are still, a minority in this industry. And so
Right.
it's, women supporting women,
Yeah.
and we're able to all get together and, meet at SRC each year, and some other events that I do too. So
That's
I love
awesome.
doing that. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
when I first started this, there was hardly any women at events. So I was like, I got to change this. So it's growing each and every year. We have more and more women attendees.
I love it. We see that across the board.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay. So go on out, srcsummit.com, get signed up. You can check out, you can find past articles and the directory on Roofers Coffee Shop, and make your plans now, because this is really, I can't believe January is just around the corner, but it's a great way to start your year. So April, thank you so much.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you. And I'll see you in Denton, Texas on my in-person road trip.
Yay. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast.
I know, it's going to be awesome. And thank all of you. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Be sure to get all the information on the SRC Summit and everything that April does throughout the year. You can find all that on Roofers Coffee Shop and on srcsummit.com. And thank you so much for listening. Please check out all of our podcasts under the Read, Listen, Watch initiative under Roofing Road Trips, or on your favorite podcast channel. Be sure to subscribe and hit those notifications so you don't miss a single episode. And we will be seeing you on the next Roofing Road Trips. Yay! We did it.
That was great.
Make it.